Yes, sir. Now we are on YouTube also. Sandeep, sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are having a fourth session with Lothar sir on principles and practices of Vedic management. So this is lesson number 4, good health and basis for successful and fulfilling personal and business life. So we'll start our session. I request Lothar sir to proceed with the session, and we can now start the session.
Namaste. Namaste. Can you hear me well?
Yes, sir, you are audible very clear.
Yeah. So for those who maybe are here today for the first time, to give a little background information, I'm the owner and CEO of the Maharshi Ayurveda Health Centre in Bad Ems, Germany. You see here the picture of the building where we have on the right wing the Ayurveda clinic, where we have treated more than 30,000 people over the last 30 years with Panchakarma. And I'm so grateful to India, the land of the Veda, for sharing this wonderful knowledge that has helped so many people. And today we will be talking about good health as the basis for successful and fulfilling life, personal and business. And there will be many practical tips. We're focusing in today's session on two main topics: diet and nutrition, and the daily and seasonal routines. For those who are new, just to review the goals of Ayurveda. Ayurveda means the science of long life, is prevention, rejuvenation, revitalization, cure, enlightenment, which means to unfold the full mental potential. And even with this knowledge, I believe, if it's applied in all areas of life, in education, starting from children, to introduce Ayurvedic knowledge, that we can develop in the direction of creating a disease-free society, which was the vision of the ancient rishis. For those who are new, I would recommend to listen to the recording of the 3 previous sessions, because very basic knowledge has been given there already. This is a picture of my teacher, Maharshi Mahesh Yogi, who has restored Ayurveda to the highest level, and he brought this precious knowledge to the Western world. Just to review a little bit, we have been talking about the 3 doshas, and it's very important to understand the concept of these metabolic principles of the doshas to make use of the knowledge that we gain in today's lesson. So we have explained in the first lesson that from Samhita, the unified field, which is called in Vedic terminologies also Atma, modern physics calls it the unified field of all the laws of nature. From there arise the 5 elements. Space and air give rise to the Vata. Fire and a little bit water gives rise to the Pitta dosha, and Kapha is coming from the water and the earth element. And they have different responsibilities in our physiology. Like Vata below is responsible for the transportation, the movement, the communication, the nervous system. And they are expressed in the shrotas, it means the body channels. Then Pitta is responsible for metabolism, digestion, and transformation. And here important is Agni, the digestive power. And structure at Kapha is giving the structure of the body, and the cohesion and the water systems. And this is manifesting in the dhatus. Dhatus means the tissues. There are 7 tissues of the body that we are creating from the food. I just have to review the characteristics of the doshas. So Vata from the properties is cold, it is light, it is quick, it is dry, it is rough, subtle, minute, moving. And this is leading the other doshas. The Pitta dosha is hot, warm, sharp, fluid, slightly oily, sour, and pungent. And finally, the Kapha dosha is heavy, cool, soft, oily, sweet, stable, steady, slow, glue sticky-like. And so every person has a different constitution with which we are born. And when the doshas are out of balance, then the diseases gradually develop. So we don't actually treat the diseases, but we try to help for different approaches, mental approaches, physical approaches, behavioral approaches, to balance the doshas so that we can have good health. And today we will be throwing some light on the importance of proper diet and nutrition. In Maharshi Ayurveda, it is known that food is medicine, and that by improving our diet, we can produce ojas. This is the finest product of digestion, which creates the balance in the physiology and bliss or happiness in the mind. So this may be a new term, but we will have a little bit more information about ojas. And when we look how the creation comes about, we have the unmanifest level of life and we have the manifested level of life. And the basis of all life is the pure consciousness, the inner being, when the mind is completely unboundedly aware in the self-consciousness, bliss consciousness, which we can experience through Bhavati Dhyan, transcendental meditation. And the Vedas were recognized by the enlightened Vedic rishis. And when they stayed in the pure consciousness, that is the observer, that is the rishi. And then there is the chandas, the outer value of life. And then there's a process which is called devata, the intelligence, which is connecting the subject with the object. This is now on the mental level. Now the connection between the mind and the body is coming about through ojas. And that has manifested in the material values of life in Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, which are correlated to Rishi, Devata, and Chandas. I know it may sound a little bit theoretical, but I hope that by the end of the lesson, you will have a better understanding. Ojas is the goal of all Ayurvedic treatments, and that comes from proper digestion. The deeper purpose of Ayurvedic treatment is to strengthen and harmonize the structure and function of the physiology in order for ojas to be constantly generated and sustained. Now comes a very interesting slide. You see here, when we take the food, then the responsibility is with Agni, our digestive fire, to digest the food through all the 7 dhatus, the bones, the blood, and all these dhatus. And the finest dhatus is Shukra, which is also responsible for the progeny. And when that is even more finer digested, then when the digestion is proper, then we create ojas. And if we don't digest the food properly, then we create ama. Ama means toxins, and ama means also undigested. So undigested food and toxins are one of the main reasons in Ayurveda for all kinds of diseases. And if we strengthen our Agni, our digestive fire, then the result is good health and happiness. Now, there are 6 qualities of tastes, and they have an effect on the 3 doshas. Sweet, sour, salty, pungent, bitter, and astringent. And you see some of them increase the kapha, some of them increase the pitta, and some of them increase the vata. And if the food is balanced, this is the most important contribution to keep balance in life. Now, there is some rule, Ayurvedic recommendation regarding the amount of food. We fill the stomach 1/2 with solid food, 1/4 with liquid food, and we should leave 1/4 with air. If we eat too much, then we can't digest the food properly. Just imagine you have a washing machine and you stuff the washing machine completely full. It is not possible to clean the laundry properly. There has to be some air, and the oxygen has to reach all the levels in the digestive system to digest the food properly. Now, another very important part, which costs nothing, but which helps us to purify and also to strengthen the digestive power, and that is the drinking of hot water during the whole day. The water should be cooked for 5 to 10 minutes. We can explain in a later lesson why it should be cooked. Even 20 minutes will be better. And for maximum benefit, we should drink every half an hour hot water, just sips. And drink as warm as convenient. But don't drink half an hour before and 1.5 hours after eating food. But you may take small sips during the meal. Ayurveda suggests the importance of spices, ideally cooked in ghee, to support the digestion. And we should not take food before the previous meal is not properly digested. And Ayurveda can be considered even as medicine to bring balance to mind, emotions, and the body. In fact, there is an Ayurvedic quotation in the ancient scriptures which says, when you have the proper herbs but the wrong food, the herbs will not be able to help properly. But if you have the proper diet, then you won't need any herbs. Also, it's important that while we eat, that our full attention is on the digesting the food, enjoying the meal. So we should sit in a settled environment, in a calm atmosphere. We should sit quietly, and we have the full attention on the food. And as we grow in higher states of consciousness, we will realize the power of our own attention in improving our digestion. And the main technology to develop higher states of consciousness is to go within, to transcend, which is very easy and natural for transcendental meditation. Now, I'd like to give you some samples about the types of taste and articles of food. So what food is sweet? All basic foods like rice, wheat, and other grains, bread, noodles, potatoes, milk, sweet dessert, and sugar, they are sweet. What is sour? Yogurt, sour milk products, citrus fruits, and vinegar. Salty, obviously, we know. Pungent are spices, herbs, and salads. Bitter are considered the vegetables, green salads, the herbs, bitter spices, bitter roots, and bitter tea. And astringent are dals, spinach, broccoli, and so on, astringent spices. So we know from the science of Ayurveda that for the food to be really satisfying, that we feel really satisfied after a meal, all different 6 tastes should be available. You may have had the experience that you are on a travel and you go to a fast food restaurant and you eat what is offered there and you're full, but you're not really satisfied. So we need the satisfaction of all the 6 different tastes in every major meal. Now, when Vata is out of balance, what does it mean? Vata is out of balance. Any kind of anxiety, sleep disturbances, being nervous, having a dry skin. This means that the Vata dosha is out of balance. So we should favor food that is pacifying that. And for those people with Vata disturbances, and about 60% of all diseases are Vata diseases, it is important to have warm food, medium heavy dishes, with the addition of a little bit more ghee and vegetable fat. Salty, sweet, tasting food is also decreasing the Vata imbalance, and soothing and satisfying dishes in general. Ideal are porridges and soups. If we have Vata disturbances, we should avoid all kinds of cold drinks and dry dishes, raw food, and we should avoid irregular intake of food. Pungent, bitter, and astringent diet, and also food which is not satisfying, and also fasting is usually creating an imbalance of the Vata dosha. We can fast, but we should always have some light thing, like a soup of rice or dal, easy digestible food, and especially drinking enough hot water. Be aware of your Agni, your digestive power. Eat in calm surroundings and drink sufficiently amounts. Prefer warm, pacifying beverages. And there are some food supplements to pacify the Vata. And there are also some teas and some churnas that you can use. Now, if you have a Pitta disturbance, that means you have irritated skin, or you get angry very easily, your emotions flare up, or you have diarrhea, or you cannot sleep enough, you wake up too early. This all shows that your Pitta has come out of balance. So you should favor cold and warm food, but not too spicy, with medium heavy consistency. Bitter, sweet, astringent food, just adding a little ghee or butter and vegetables oils. And also here, the meal should be satisfying. What you should avoid when you have Pitta disturbances are hot dishes, stimulants like alcohol, pungent, sour, and very salty dishes, and highly spiced food is creating an imbalance of the Pitta dosha. Also here, watch your Agni, and you can sip sweet, diluted lassi, peppermint tea. Peppermint tea is reducing, and fresh sweet beverages, they also help to cool down the Pitta. Now we come to the Kapha disturbances. Now, what could be a Kapha disturbance? Any kind of heaviness, depression, or even a cold. When you have a cold, that means your Kapha is out of balance. In that case, you should have warm, light, and dry foods. And you should not eat too much. And dry dishes without much liquid, only minor amounts of butter and oil or sugar. Pungent and bitter, astringent tasting food is reducing Kapha. And spices are very good for Kapha disturbances because they increase the Agni, our digestive power. When we have Kapha disturbances, we should avoid heavy, fatty, sumptuous dishes. We should avoid eating too often, and the food should not be too salty or too sour. And we should avoid high-calorie beverages and excessive intakes of liquids. And also here we watch our Agni, and we use bitter spice teas and Kapha tea and Kapha churna. These are is a mixture of spicy herbs. Ginger is very good for many disturbances, you know. What you could do is you can prepare for yourself in the morning. You can boil for 10 minutes or more hot water. You've put it in a thermos flask and you can sip it every half an hour. But if you have a Kapha disturbance, for example, also for all the other doshas, Pitta is usually very pacifying, and Vata. Ginger is helping to pacify all the doshas. So you can take some slices and put it in the hot water and drink it during the day. And you will see you become more energy, your digestion becomes better, and even your mood will be improving. Now, those of you who are from India, who know Vedic philosophy, they know that there are 3 gunas called sattva, rajas, and tamas. And sattva is that which is nourishing, which is creating happiness. And the food that is supporting the positive feelings and behavior and the good health in our life, we call those sattvic food because they increase ojas. And they are milk, cream, ghee, honey, almonds, mung beans, rice, freshly cooked grains and vegetables, and sweet fruits. And of course, there are many more, but these are the main ones. And there has been some interesting research that has shown that these sattvic foods, they have a lot of biophotons energy, which are very healthy for us. So this is called the sattvic food. If we want to consider what is rajasic food, you know, it would be very spicy or alcohol that is, you know, bringing unrest in our life. And tamasic is destroying, that makes us dull. Old food, food which is not cooked very well, which is difficult to digest. This is increasing the tamasic values, the dullness in our life. Now, this was just to give you a little insight into some principles of Ayurvedic diet. I really have squeezed a lot of information in these 15 minutes. And if you like, and if the DPU University likes me to continue next year, we can go into more detail about all the various topics of Ayurvedic the diet. There is much, much more to learn. These were just some of the main points. Another very important area are the effects of the daily and seasonal routines. And through this knowledge, we can bring our life more in accordance with the rhythms of nature. Maharshi Ayurveda gives us an understanding of how the fundamental factors or doshas are affected by the times of the day, the seasons, and the age of our life. Now, in this slide here, you see the rhythms of day and night. When we start here on the top from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we have the pitta time. Pitta means we have a lot of energy for digesting food. The Agni is very strong. The sun is up. And at the same time in our digestive system, the Agni, the digestive power, is the strongest. So that is the reason why we should have the main meal, if possible, regularly, always between 10 and 2. The best time is 12 o'clock because then our Agni is strongest. Then comes the Vata time. And we are active and creative in that time. And then at 6 o'clock, we start to get tired. There comes the Kapha time. And then in the evening, we should have not so much activity. We should have a little walk, read something pleasant, or listen to some music. And then we start to get tired in the Kapha time. But you may have noticed when you stay up late that maybe after 10 o'clock, you suddenly get a lot of energy and you become awake again. And then the Pitta time is coming again. So every 4 hours, the predominance of the doshas in the nature through the sunlight are changing also within us. And then we feel energetic again, but we should sleep during that time because the sleep before midnight, we say in Germany, it counts double. It's very important from the Ayurvedic point of view to try to go to bed before 10 o'clock. And we should not eat even if we get hungry because the digestive power, the Agni, is needed to digest the toxins during that time. At 2 o'clock in the night to 6 o'clock comes the Vata time. Then we become very active in the dreams, and and we also become awake. We should get up before sunrise, approximately before 6 o'clock. And if we sleep too long into the kapha time, which is from 6 to 10 o'clock, then we may feel a little bit dull the whole day, because this kapha quality will enter our day. I hope that makes sense for you. So we have the rhythms of the day and the night. And then we also have the predominance of the doshas during the different seasons. Like the kapha time is when it's outside cold, damp, when it's raining or snowing. This is a kapha quality. Pitta quality obviously is in the summer when it's very hot. Then people start to get pitta problems. In the kapha time, they get colds, kapha problems. In the pitta time, the skin may get sunburn. All these pitta qualities come up. We maybe also be becoming a little bit aggressive when it's very cold. And then the vata season is characterized by very cold, cold and windy. Vata is wind. Cold and dry is vata. And abrupt changes of the weather, they also create vata disturbances. So here we have the seasons, which we just explained. And then there are different stages of life. When a child is born, until puberty, we are building up the whole body. Babies have very sick face. That means there is a kapha is built up, the structure. Then from puberty until menopause, we are in the pitta time. We start a career, we build up a family, we have a lot of energy, a lot of drive to accomplish things. And then when we start to get old, then we have the vata time. So elderly people, they tend to have joint problems, and they tend to have not such a good sleep. And for them, it's very important to have good health in the old age, to do all the things regarding diet and regularity in routine to pacify the vata, and improve the quality of life for better health. Now I show you the influences of season. So in spring, kapha, we have lethargy, we get flu, colds, we have hay fever. In summer, we have reduced appetite, inflammation comes up, problems with the intestine, sun allergies. In the late summer, there's a mild pitta. So pleasantly warm, the nervous system is smoothened, the onset of colds. In the autumn, we have winds, sleep disorder, joint problems. And in November, we have kapha again, depressions and cold. In the dry winter, we have joint pains for many people, and respiratory disorders, and vivid dreams. Now, you may ask, what does it have to do with the business management? I could just say the good health is the basis for successful personal life and also business life. And when you run later a company and you implement those things for your staff, then they will be more happy, they will be more productive, they will have less absenteeism. So the good health is very much related also to the success of the corporate life. Now, I will give you some tips, some hints, recommendations for the morning hygiene to prevent diseases. As I mentioned before, we should get up early without using an alarm clock, ideally before 6 o'clock. Then we can apply 1 drop of oil in each nostril. We should drink a glass of cool room temperature water that helps to evacuate the bowels. And then we should clean the tongue. I don't know if you have a tongue scraper. If you don't have, take a spoon, stand in the morning in front of the mirror and scrap what is on your tongue. And when you have a lot of things on the tongue, that means that is ama. So the body has worked the whole night to take out the toxins of the body. through the things we find on the tongue. So it's very good to clean the tongue every morning. You brush the teeth. And if you want, you can also gargle with sesame oil. And if you have time, maybe later we can explain how to do Abhyanga, the self-massage, with warm, ripened sesame oil that is strengthening the immune system and gives you a lot of energy. Sorry, we don't have the time in this short lesson to go in all the details. Then we recommend some exercise like Surya Namaskar, the sun salute, or a brisk walk outside in the morning. And then we take a warm shower. And then ideal would be to practice yoga asanas, these postures, and pranayama, the breathing exercises. And ideally also the transcendental meditation and advanced programs. In Ayurveda, it's a part of the daily tradition to practice meditation, which is called dhyan. And you see here in the graphics how the mind from the active level on the top can refine its activity and reach the level of Atman, the source of thinking, the pure consciousness, which is the realm of all possibilities, restful alertness. And the best technique to do that is called Bhavati Dhyan, transcendental meditation. I'll give you a website where you get more information about it. Now we continue with the daily routine. So after you have taken a heavy meal, rest for half an hour. Kapha people should not sleep. They just rest for 10 minutes sitting. Pitta people can lie down for half an hour, but they shouldn't sleep. And people with Vata or old age, they can rest and even sleep half an hour in bed. Now the routine for the evening to prevent diseases is the evening meditation, pleasant, relaxing activities. Enjoy a little walk, maybe 10-15 minutes in the fresh air, and maybe read some uplifting scriptures, that you go into bed with a good mood, and then start to sleep before 10 o'clock. Now, there are some general points. We should only take warm beverages, not cold beverages, because the cold beverages that come from the fridge, they weaken our digestive power. And then also Ayurveda recommends to exercise every day, at least half an hour or earliest 1 hour after meals. So not just before eating and not after eating, exercise. And by following these simple guidelines of Maharshi Ayurveda in regard to the seasonal routine, we can create balance in the doshas for our good health of mind and body. Now, I like to give some recommendations for you when you run later your own company, when you're an executive. You will see when you integrate the Ayurvedic principles in your canteen. That means, for example, that you support that the staff has a quiet environment while they're eating. Then the kitchen should cook healthy, fresh, organic, and sattvic foods, which satisfies all the six tastes. Then also the restaurant should provide hot water. It has been cooked for 10 minutes that you can sip during the meal. And you will see when you apply it for yourself, within a few days, you will feel more energy. And we have seen in companies that are providing health education seminars about Ayurvedic lifestyle to their staff, that they have great benefit. And even I would recommend, which we also do in my company, we have Vaidya consultations. The Vaidya is the Ayurvedic physician. And they can, every season, they can take the pulse and check the health, the imbalances in the diagnosis, and give good recommendations for diet, individual recommendations and herbs to the staff. And in that way, you will create a much better corporate climate. So it's really a very practical knowledge, this ancient knowledge of Ayurveda, to be introduced into companies. So before we go to the questions, I'd just like to ask you to please join also the next session. you will learn many, many practical things, like reducing ama. Ama are the toxins in the body, the undigested food, and with very simple measures, you can improve your energy and your health. And also Ayurveda has a great area of knowledge regarding rasayanas for the promotion of long life. And rasayanas are herbal preparations and also behavioral recommendations that rejuvenate and improve the quality of life. So I have now left 20 minutes and I will be very happy to answer the questions that you have. Thank you very much so far.
Thank you so much, sir, for a wonderful, informative session. We have recorded few of the questions from the learners.
Yeah.
One by one, I'll ask the question and request you to answer the question, please. The first question from a learner: should we consume sugar according to Ayurveda?
It should be not too much, you know. Sugar is also in fruits and also in grains. We have sugar, and we can also add sugar to sweets that we eat, but we shouldn't take too much, you know. And how much sugar we can digest depends on our individual digestive power, on our constitution, on our Agni. Everybody knows that too much sugar is not good, but sugar gives also some satisfaction. So the rule is here balanced life.
Yes, sir. One of the question from a learner: please, can you please explain what are the characteristics if any person is having Pitta dosha?
Yeah, I saw here also, maybe I have to go back here.
Right.
To the Pitta properties, just a moment. So Pitta is, by its characteristics, it's hot, it is warm, it is sharp, it is fluid, slightly oily, light, sour and pungent. And people with a Pitta constitution, they have a medium complexion. And people with a Pitta constitution, they can digest their food very well. And they can't skip a meal. Like if they don't have a lunch at the proper time, you know, they get irritated. Their emotions come out of balance. And the Pitta people, they can also get angry very easily, but they also cool down. You know, and the Pitta people, when they have, if it's too much out of balance, they can also have sleep problems, that they can't sleep enough during the night. And they tend to have diarrhea and, you know, skin irritations. All these are Pitta problems. And the foods which I recommended to reduce Pitta, they are very helpful. So maybe the person interested can see the video again and go to the slide with the recommendations to balance Pitta. Would that be okay?
Right, sir. Sir, we have one question from a learner. What is the correct course of time for drinking water?
Yeah, it's very important that we drink enough water, and we should drink the good quality water as good as we can get. And so the people with Pitta, they need a little bit more. And our recommendation regarding water was, when we get up in the morning, we take a glass of room temperature water. That will stimulate our physiology to evacuate the intestine. And then during the day, if you want to get rid of the ama, the undigested food, you can have a good progress and also lose some weight when you sip during the day maybe 1.5 or 2 liters of hot water. So the recommendation is that we the recommendation is that we boil the water for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and then we put it in a thermos flush. And then, like other people drink tea, we sip every half an hour a little bit of hot water. And the reason for boiling the water for 10, 15, 20 minutes is that you may know from your chemistry lessons that water consists of long molecules of HO2. And the outer area of the electrons of the oxygen atom, they have two empty places. So they bind to two hydrogen atoms, which have one electron outside. And we have long chains of HO2. And through the boiling process of the water, we kind of divide these long chains in small molecules, and they want to bind again. And then they can bind, after the long cooking process, they tend to bind to the toxins in the body. Now, if you would drink tea or coffee instead, then they would bind to the aromas or to the taste or to the smell characteristics of the molecules, and they wouldn't be able to detox the body. So that's why we are recommending in Ayurveda to drink hot water during the day. But we shouldn't drink half an hour before we eat, because that will dilute our digestive power. And after we have taken food, we should also wait for 1.5 hours before we start drinking. And I may want to add another point here. One of the most important Ayurvedic recommendations is to not eat in between meals. We should only take food when the previous meal has been completely digested, which is usually the case after 3 to 4 hours. So we should wait for the feeling of being hungry before we eat. And then we eat not more than half the stomach full with solid food. If we eat always in between, this will lead to undigested food, ama, and create many health problems in the future.
Thank you, sir. One more question, sir. Can one person have two dosha together?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
There are 7 different combinations possible. And when you go to the website of the clinic, my clinic, I'll give later the link, there is a dosha test where you fill out a questionnaire about your behavior and your digestion and your likings and not likings. And then you add up the points, and then you get a rough idea which doshas are predominant with you, or which combination of doshas is predominant. But if you want to have a proper analysis, then I would recommend that you see an Ayurvedic physician to get a proper consultation, and also they can take the pulse if they have learned that. And then you will learn a lot about you and your digestive power.
Thank you, sir. One more question. Is there any remedy for hyperthyroids?
Yes.
What kind of food you recommend for this condition? That is the question from Lana, sir.
Yeah, that is a question that I would refer better to an Ayurveda physician, because we have to see what is the actual root cause of it. In general, we would also reduce pitta aggravating food, which we have shown in a slide before. But for a special health condition, it's better to see a physician to have the individual constitution and the reason of the imbalance. You see, people with the same health problem, they may have different causes why it has come. So we have to go to the root cause.
Yes. One of the learner is asking about, according to Ayurveda, which is good food for weight loss?
all kinds of kapha reducing diet. So we should, when we want to lose weight, we have to strengthen the digestive power. And what is good is it should not be too oily. We shouldn't take any fast food in that case. You know, everything that is fried or that is very sweet, like cream or cakes, French fries, burgers, that kind of food should be reduced. And we should avoid cold food. We should avoid especially cold drinks. We should drink spicy teas, hot water, ginger water. And also we should exercise a lot.
One question from a learner that how to get rid of excessive sweating.
Excessive sweating is a pitta disturbance.
Okay.
So we should follow the recommendations given before regarding the pitta diet.
Okay. So these are the questions for today, sir. We are having with us, and this session is amazing. Exactly, you have explained very much in detail about the doshas, vata, pitta, kapha, and the treatment and the remedial and the diet plan for the same as well. So this is amazing session by you, sir, and thank you so much for conducting such a wonderful session for our learners. Learners, if you have any question, you can even write into the Q&A section.
Let me just give you the websites here at the end.
Yeah.
Just a moment. So you shouldn't miss the next session for sure, because we will be giving many practical advices for the reduction of ama, and that will be very precious for everybody to know. And we have in the next session also the Rasayanas. Rasayanas are all related behavioral recommendations and herbal preparations to expand the span of our life, which is a big goal of Ayurveda. And the following session will be then the last, completing the first 6 sessions. And there we will be talking about all the different Vedic approaches, like light therapy, aromatherapy, color therapy, sound therapy. And we will especially focus on the relation between Jyotish. Jyotish is the Vedic astrology, and Ayurveda, how we can see which diseases can be cured by the doctor and which diseases we also need to consider the horoscope of the person. And also we will consider the great benefits that we can have for our private life and for the corporate life when we are living and working in proper Vastu, the ancient science of Sthapatya Veda. So we take into account all the different Vedic approaches to improve the individual life and the corporate life. And as always, I have here an overview about related websites. So those of you who would like to know more and learn Transcendental Meditation and find a teacher of Transcendental Meditation, to get a free introductory talk, find the teacher in your area on the website tm.org. And then there is the Maharshi College of Perfect Health International, the second link here, which is offering all kinds of courses on Ayurveda when you want to deepen for yourself. And there is the website of Maharshi International University, EDU, in United States. This is a consciousness-based university, which is integrating all the Vedic knowledge basically in modern education. And the biggest number of students they have now in the whole world outside India in the area of Ayurveda. So they have 600 students there studying Ayurveda in the bachelor's and the master's program. And finally, you have also my personal website where you can get the link to my Ayurveda clinic, Maharshi Ayurveda Health Centre in Germany, where you can also find the dosha test to get an idea what is the situation with your doshas. Are there any more questions before we conclude for today?
Yes, so we are having a lot of questions about the food habit for healthy life. They are asking, a lot of learners are asking about the diet plan they should follow. These are the questions basically we are having with us now. And how we can improve the digestive system. This is again the question.
Yeah. So I would need maybe later on, today we were dividing the lecture between the rhythms of the doshas during the day and the seasons and our lifespan and diet and nutrition. And I would like, if there is interest in a later session, perhaps next year, we could spend 2 whole sessions just on diet and nutrition. I just condensed everything to the most important points, but a general recommendation would be you have a satisfying breakfast, and then you don't take meals in between, but after 1.5 hours, you start to sip hot water. Then the main meal should be in the midday, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, something like that. And that meal should be satisfying, that all the 6 tastes are satisfied, but be careful to watch your inner voice that tells you you shouldn't eat more, that you have the proper amount of food. And then you should rest after even sitting for 10, 15 minutes. We don't eat while we are standing or talking. We should eat in silence, and we should be sitting in a quiet environment. And then we sit for 10, 15 minutes, or even can lie down, depending on the dosha, which I have explained before. And then if you are hungry in the afternoon, students, they have a lot of digestive fire. They may get hungry. You may have some fruit juice in the late afternoon or some fruit. And the dinner should be not too late, but you should be hungry. You should only eat so much as a snack that you are hungry again for dinner. And the dinner should not be later than 7 o'clock, ideally 6 o'clock the evening. And the dinner should be light, soup, vegetables, grains, but you shouldn't eat for dinner cheese or meat or eggs. In the evening, just a light diet, and the quality of sleep will be much better and your digestive power will be enhanced. So these are the main principles for our eating habits.
Thank you so much, sir. These are the questions we mostly having with us. A lot of learners are asking the same question again and again, but you have already answered the question. I request all the learners just go through the video again, and you might be getting a lot of all answer of your questions in Lothar sir's slide. And at last, I would like to thank Dr. Lothar Pirc sir for such an amazing session conducting for our DPU learners. And it is again a very good and informative session about a healthy life, and which is very important for everyone in today's scenario. Exactly, a lot of people are spending their time by sitting only, and they're doing most of the time sitting jobs, and they are not aware about that what sort of life, what sort of food they should intake as per their body type. So thank you so much, Lothar Pirc sir, for giving the information about dosha and dosha like vata, pitta, and kapha, and accordingly what sort of diet we should take. And thank you again for the session, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, I also want to thank Dr. Patil University for inviting me. And I like the university a lot and the students. And I wish all the students success in their study and take benefit of Ayurveda to improve the quality of life. And please do join me next session again, where there will be many, many practical tips again. I'm looking forward to send, and all the best wishes to you. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much, sir.